Right, 15 March 2020, and today I want to talk about panic buying in Johannesburg. So, panic buying of foods, especially groceries, has started. You can clearly see it if you go to the malls. There is this atmosphere that is not normal. It's almost as if it's month end, but you know that it's not month end. People have started to buy a lot of dry goods. So things like rice, sugar, spaghetti, tinned foods, those kind of foods are flying off the shelves, especially at the shop like Macro. So I was moving around different Macros and big shops like Checkers. You can clearly see that there's a lot of people buying. And what happens is when there's panic buying, people don't just buy food. They start to buy other things as they are in the shops. I'm sure the volume of transactions is very, very high in South Africa at the moment. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that the impact of this coronavirus is going to be felt very hard in places like Zimbabwe in ways that you do not expect. So at the moment, Zimbabwe claims that there's no one with coronavirus in the country. In South Africa, there is 51 people today. This is the latest number, 51 people with coronavirus. There are people who came from China, Wuhan, and these people have been traveling through. So the ones that came from China through the repatriation, they came in one plane. They went to Limpopo. Those are being put there and quarantined for 2 weeks. But there are people who have been traveling from China, going through the airport and traveling from Europe. South Africa is a hub in Southern Africa. So there is likely to be a lot more people that have coronavirus right now in the population, and the numbers are going to grow. So this number, what it normally does is it doubles every day in the beginning, which means if we've got 51 today, by tomorrow we'll probably have 100, and after about 10 days, you can calculate the number, we'll probably have passed 1,000 people with coronavirus. When the number gets to the thousands, the government is going to be forced to act, which means they're going to be forced to make announcements, they're going to be forced to close things like churches, schools, all this. And lucky enough, the schools are closing this next week. So they are probably going to be forced to extend the school holidays. When these announcements start to come out, what happens is it creates panic and people are going to start buying even more. Most people get paid at the end of the month, especially the low income earners. What this means is when someone gets paid, they're going to prioritize food. They're not going to pay their bills. You have people sitting around with a lot of food in their house. This is going to disrupt the supply chains. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that a shop like Macro, normally you can be able to go on the website and buy stuff. What I realized that if you go there now and try to buy, let's say, rice, it will probably say to you, only available in store or not available online. So the shops are starting to sort of predict what is going to happen, and they're going to be making contingency plans. So you will see less and less goods available online because obviously they won't be able to deliver. That's one thing. If all people start buying online, there's no capacity to deliver all these goods everywhere. The high income earners could also buy a lot of things and cause artificial shortages. So this is a big issue. And also the producer. Where does the producer get his stock? What happens if a factory is hit by coronavirus and they have to close? There is a lot of possible scenarios. And as I said, countries like Zimbabwe, they import almost everything from South Africa. If goods start to run out in South Africa, what happens in Zimbabwe? What happens to your cooking oil, to your rice, to your soap? If people just start panic buying, what will happen if South Africa has to be on shutdown? Are they going to close the border with Zimbabwe and Mozambique? Mozambique at the moment was talking of closing the border with South Africa. There was that call yesterday by Mozambicans to say, let us close the border with South Africa. How is Mozambique going to manage their coastline? So these are very big, very, very big issues. Coronavirus really hitting hard here in South Africa because a lot of people, a lot of consultants, a lot of tourists come to South Africa. And what will happen if countries in Europe start saying you can't fly to South Africa, you can't fly out, there's a new world order basically, which is coming. Things are changing. And the way you used to think about life, if you are one of the people that are probably in Zimbabwe and you're thinking, I'm going to go to Europe, maybe that path or that avenue is no longer available. The way you were thinking about life has to change. And if this continues for months and months, who knows what can happen. So there is a lot of possibilities right now. And we're just in the early days. This has been going on for less than 3 months. I think the first cases were around mid-January, but probably December. That's when the first people started getting affected by coronavirus. How is it going to affect South Africa over the next 3 months? What happens to contract workers when people are told to go home? Are they going to be paid? Because South Africa, normally, if you don't work, you don't get paid. What happens? There's going to be a lot of impact on low-income earners who are being paid by labor brokers. So it's a very big thing, and people have to change the way they see things. If people have to learn electronically, do we have enough internet access? So there's a lot of questions, but as I said, today I just wanted to talk about panic buying. Panic buying has started. I'm going to be tracking the level of buying, the levels on the shelves once in a while to give you a feel of what is happening. So going into the future, very uncertain. 2020 has started in a very surprising way. It's uncertain what is going to happen. But what I can tell you is that life as we know it has changed. It's no longer, you cannot take anything for granted. Tomorrow you can wake up and there will be a different announcement. Because this is uncharted territory where we're going now. Right, if you are watching this on WhatsApp, please send it to as many people as possible. If you're watching this on YouTube and Facebook, please like, comment, and share. Thank you very much.